Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to a shirtless edition of your WOD Brief for Saturday, April 11th. Welcome. We're going to go over your warm-up, part 1, and then part 2 for today. Okay, so your warm-up today is going to consist of 3 rounds. 3 rounds of 10 good mornings and 10 lateral jumps, 10 ground to shoulder, 10 shoulder to overhead, and then finally 5 push-ups. Okay, so for those good mornings, you guys can use a band, you can use a weight, plate, barbell, whatever you prefer. You can just do body weight, whatever it is, but if you have access to a band, that's a good option. Okay, I'll go over the band now, and then later during the workout, because we have Good Mornings program for the workout, I'll go over the weighted one, okay, or the one with the plate. But if you're using a band, and you happen to have a band, that'll go over your neck like so. Okay, keep your the band inside your thumbs, just like this, so it keeps it off of your body. Okay, the movement remains the same regardless of the type of resistance you're using. Okay, so slight bend in your knees, shove those hips back, hinge over, bending over right here. Okay, so the emphasis is here in the glutes. Come up, squeeze that butt together and back down. Okay, just like so. You can also use a dumbbell, put it on your back. I prefer, if you can hold it onto your chest as well, but it's a little bit harder to hold as it falls down. At least on the back, it'll stay in that position. Okay, we'll go a little more in depth when we have that in the workout for part 2. Okay, so after your good mornings, you guys have 10 lateral jumps. So find an object to jump over. If you don't have anything, remember guys, the idea of your warm-up is it's a general warm-up. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's not necessarily a standard. The idea is just to get you moving, especially if you all just rolled out of bed, came right into the workout. You're gonna want to make sure you're easing yourself in. Okay, so the lateral jumps, literally just kind of like ski jumps, staying in place, jumping over an imaginary object. You don't have to actually jump over an object, but you got 10 on each side. Those should be done pretty quickly. Okay, next we have 10 ground to shoulder. So essentially that will be a power clean. I keep doing it with one arm, assuming you only have one piece of equipment, one dumbbell, one kettlebell, whatever it is. If it's a backpack, you can do it with 2 hands. If it's a medicine ball, you're just bringing it from the floor up, catching that position. Okay, up. You can even throw it onto a shoulder. Opposite shoulder, so we're just moving per side. If it is a dumbbell, from the floor to the shoulder. Okay, do 5 on one side, 5 on the other if it happens to be a single object with single arm. Okay. Next, you then have a shoulder to overhead. If you have a single object that you can hold with both arms, one heavy dumbbell. Okay, we're just pressing all the way up, locking out at the top, head comes through. Okay, if you have a lighter object and you want to do one arm at a time, do 5 on one side, 5 on the other. That should suffice. You can add a little bit more if you want. Okay, remember guys, your workout's not set in stone. It's our suggestion for you for a general warm-up. All right. After that shoulder to overhead, you guys then have 5 push-ups. Okay, so you'll be on the floor with those push-ups if possible. Okay, all the way down, touch your chest to the floor, back up, locking your arms out. Okay, make sure those elbows stay close to your sides. They don't have to be perfect here. The idea is that you're pushing muscles and trying to get that full range of motion. Okay, so if you want to drop to your knees, you can do that. Just make sure your hips are closer to the floor. And we're doing our push-ups like so, leading with your chest. We'll go into more modifications and scaling options again when we go over that in part 2, okay, because we have that for our workout in part 2. Now, moving on, you just went through that. You have 3 rounds of that. That should take you guys about 5 to 7 minutes to complete, okay, and then we move on to part 1. Part 1, planks, all right, something a little bit different. These planks are spread planks, also known as like starfish planks. We're widening our stance or our base, so we're increasing that lever arm. We're moving our limbs further away from our core, which then in turn makes it harder for the core, and other arms or other muscles as well. Okay, so you guys are going to feel this in your chest, into your arms, biceps, kind of trying to grip and hold on to the ground. So I'm going to demonstrate this and show you guys the different options. Everybody is going to be at probably a slightly different spread position. You're going to find it harder the further you go out. So some of you, it just depends on where your strength lies. Okay, your goal is to complete about 30 seconds. You'll see in the description there that that we have max effort or 30 seconds. Okay, so if you guys can go longer than 30 seconds, great. If your max effort is only 10 seconds, then we're going to need to figure out some kind of modification. Okay, so meaning just bring those hands in. So here we go. So here's your high plank position. You'll spread that stance out, widen those hands out, widen those feet out, okay, and then we're holding that position there. Okay, immediately you guys should right away feel that intensifies that hold by quite a degree. Okay, so nobody's going to be in the same position necessarily, so don't expect to get yourself an inch off of the floor. If you can and your chest is hovering right off the floor, more power to you. That is amazing, but that would be more of a goal to work up towards. Okay, but so you guys decide, find that hard spot where you're looking for maybe 30 seconds. If you go more than that, that's fine. Okay, you guys have 4 sets of this. Rest as needed in between your sets. Make sure you guys aren't feeling any tightness in your shoulders or anything like that. Okay, let that get out and then go back to it. So make sure you're fully recovered before you jump into your next set. So now part 2, we have a workout called Fortune 500, and you could probably guess what that means. We got 500 of something. 500 repetitions, 5 movements, 100 reps each movement. Okay, the workout is designed to be a bit longer, so consider this maybe a 20-minute workout, an endurance workout. When we do endurance, that means generally it's not going to be heavy weight. Okay, it'll be high volume, more body weight type of movements. Okay, so in this case, body weight type of movements. If you haven't been working out a very long time, if you're new to our workouts, or if you're sore, consider those, listen to your body, and consider scaling the workout's structure. Okay, I would like you guys to complete it one movement after the other. Okay, don't chip away at it. I want it to be, as far as prescribed, I want it to be 100, then you do another 100, then you do another 100. Okay, so not a chipper. If you have soreness, if you haven't been working out in a while, then you can consider breaking it up. Maybe split it up into 5 rounds of 20 repetitions each movement. 4 rounds, 25 repetitions, however that would work for you guys, but that'll take some strain off of the body, allow those body parts to get a little bit of a rest. Okay, so consider that as you're going through some of your scaling options. Okay, for your movements, your first movement is sit-ups, 100 sit-ups. All right, so your sit-ups are going to look like this. Feet are together, heels close to your groin, knees on the outside here. Okay, so flush down, almost close to the floor. We're going to sit back. We're going to touch our chest, or I'm sorry, our backs to the floor, and we're going to sit all the way up and reach as far forward as possible. Okay, I say as far forward as possible. I don't want to give you a point to reach for. I just want you reaching as far as you can so that your shoulders pass your knees. Okay, or I'm sorry, past your hips. Full range of motion in that sit-up. If I tell you to reach for your feet, most likely you'll probably stop in this position. You won't complete the full range of motion. So again, sitting back, using my arms to help propel me, okay, all the way up. If you guys have something that'll fit in the small of your back, like an ab mat, great, use it. If you want to roll up a yoga mat, roll up a towel to fit there, awesome. Just know that the reason why we use that is to provide more extension in the back, therefore more engagement in your abs, okay? From this position to this position engages the abs a bit more. So that's just all that is there. It's not for comfort. The idea there is you're engaging the abs a bit more. So if you have an ab mat or a towel or anything that could be put in place of that, good work. If not, you'll be fine doing sit-ups just as I did right there. Okay, so 100 sit-ups there. Next, we have good mornings. As I mentioned in the warm-up, okay, band would be a great option. Many of you don't have the band, so we'll come to a plate. Okay, if you have a plate, excellent. If you have a barbell, great. Let's consider the weights as for the guys around 45 pounds, for the ladies around 25 pounds, just to give you an idea, okay? If you don't have those weights, fine. If you have heavier than that, I wouldn't advise going heavier than that. Maybe just go body weight or find something like a backpack or a purse or something that will be of moderate weight. Okay, so weight we're going to set on your shoulders, okay, holding it comfortably on the shoulder blades there. Okay, feet are about shoulder width position. Slight bend in your knees. Hinge those hips back. All the way down. When I say all the way down, I mean you're trying to ideally get your torso towards horizontal to the floor. Okay, the weight now is shifted into my glutes and my hamstrings. This is where I predominantly feel the emphasis, not in my lower back. Okay, I'm going to come up, squeeze my glutes together, and then back, like so. Okay, make sure you aren't going further than your range of motion or than your flexibility allows. For instance, if I'm going down to that in that position here, this is as far as my hamstrings go, but I'm trying to force myself to go further and I start to round my back. We don't want that, okay? If you can only go this far, and this is where you feel it, and that's as far as you can go before your back starts to break, then come back up, okay? So range of motion is important there, but you're only limited, or you are limited based on the flexibility that you have, all right? So remember, shift those hips back and down. We should feel it in our glutes and our hamstrings, okay? Those are your good mornings. Next, we have your air squats, okay? So air squats, shoulder width position, basic, I know. You guys do these all the time, but we have 100 of them, and they should be perfect from your first rep to your last rep, okay? So shoulder width position. I'd like you guys to keep your hands above the horizontal plane, okay? So don't keep them down by your pants, up, sitting down in that position. Keeping your arms up helps keep the chest upright, helps keep your gaze upright, and then turn your back straight, okay? As we come out of that, we stand, okay, and back down. My weight is in my middle or midsole and my heel. Knees are out, hip crease below parallel, back is neutral and straight. Up, hips open, and repeat, okay? And I can do that fast. I can use my upper body to propel and assist me out of that movement, okay? But I'm not bouncing, and I'm not coming off of my heels onto my toes. Next, we have V-ups, alternating V-ups. Okay, we have 100 total repetitions. Okay, so 50 on each side. Those are gonna look like this. You're gonna start in your hollow body position. We're gonna reach up, touch the toe, like so. Okay, so your right arm touches your left toe, and your left arm touches your right toes. Okay, you can also do this modified by shortening the range of motion and simply touching your shin each time. Okay, so shorten that up. Your other option would be bringing one knee in and touching your foot with both hands, as you guys can see here. Okay, a little bit more balance. We're using the two hands there. Makes obviously the movement a little bit easier. Finally, if any of those options are too difficult, plant those hands on the ground, lean back slightly, bring one knee into your chest. Okay, so still working that core movement there. And again, 100 reps, 50 on each side. Okay? And finally, we're back to those push-ups that we did in our warm-up with those push-ups. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys a little more options here to discuss this a bit more, but this is what it should look like. If you're doing them prescribed, your hands are under your shoulders. We're nice and tight in the hollow body position. Our chest touches the floor. Hips try to stay off the floor if possible. Elbows are relatively close to our sides, and we lock out at the top. Chest touches, lock out at the top. It should be a nice sweat mark on your floor or whatever object you're going to, okay? Now, scaling appropriately, okay? You have your options of benches, boxes, walls, whatever they may be. If you have those options, great. If you don't, you can always go to your knees, okay? So we can drop to the knees, hips are forward, making sure you're leading with your chest when you're doing those. Those will be very, very easy. So if you guys have an option to elevate and stay in the hollow body position, that's better, okay? In regards to your push-ups and really any other movement for that matter, but in a workout as long as this with such high volume like this, your modifications do mean something, okay? So if you are modifying in the middle of a workout, that is poor planning, okay? You guys need to be thinking about how you're modifying before the workout begins, and then stick to that. If you err and it's wrong and you go, oh man, this is too easy, not the end of the world. If it's too hard, I understand, okay? If it's a safety issue, then you might need to scale right away or modify right away. But it's very hard to track progress if you guys are bouncing around. So if I start on the floor and did 10 there, do 30 on the box, do the rest on the wall, and I look back at this workout and a week from now and go, oh, what did I do that day? Oh, I did 100. Oh, but I bounced around all over the place. It's hard to get an idea of where you're at strength-wise, okay? So my suggestion is always err on the lighter side or easier side for a movement. If you finish the workout and you go, dang, that was really easy, not the end of the world. Next week, you make it a little bit harder, okay? But if it's all over the place and you're bouncing around, it becomes very difficult to track your progress and see where you're at, okay? So really think hard before the workout begins. Choose the appropriate option. Consider how many reps we're doing. Are you partitioning the reps? Are you doing all 100? Because you may need to scale differently if that's the case, okay? So consider that. Good reps all the time from 1 to 100 on all these movements. It's body weight stuff, so there's no excuse to mess these reps up. They should look good, okay? As far as your conditioning level, if you're a little bit lower in that sense, then consider breaking up the reps and chipping away at the workout. If you've been doing this a while, you're conditioned and you're pretty good, you know these movements, then you can go all the way through it and do it RX, not break anything up. 100, 100, 100, all right? All right, guys, well, enjoy this workout.